Chapter 32. I was standing on the pavement outside Oliver's, trying to figure out exactly how bad an idea this had been, when it started to rain. Which, at the very least, got in the way of my plan to dither helplessly for 20 minutes before wussing out and going home. I mean, I still hadn't completely written off Operation Wuss Out, but somehow, there I was, unsexily damp and terrified, ringing Oliver's doorbell at 4 a.m. Oh shit. What had I done? I stared at Oliver's pretty glass panels, wondering if it was too late to run away, like a kid playing a prank. And then the door opened, and Oliver was standing there in his stripiest pyjamas, his face pale and his eyes red-rimmed. "What are you doing here?" he said, in a "this is the last thing I need right now" sort of voice. With no idea how to answer that, I called up Cam's article on my phone and jammed it in Oliver's face like an FBI agent in a movie. "What's this?" He squinted. "It's an article about what a loser I am by some guy I met for 5 minutes a month ago." "When you woke me up," said Oliver, "at a time so unsociable it can't even be called the middle of the night because that was about 2 hours back, I'd hoped you might at least be coming to apologize. I didn't expect that you'd be asking me to do background reading on a wet smartphone." Fuck, I was fucking this up. "I am," I tried. I do. I apologize. But I wanted you to know why I flipped out, for context." "Ah, yes." He gave me one of his cold looks. "The most important part of any apology." Rainwater slithered from the tips of my hair and down my face. "Oliver, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for pushing you away. I'm sorry for losing my shit. I'm sorry for locking myself in the bathroom like an emo teen at a bad party. I'm sorry I suck at apologies. I'm sorry I've been a crap fake boyfriend, and I'm sorry I keep showing up on your doorstep begging you to give me another chance." "It's not that I don't appreciate the gesture. Well, gestures." He was doing the temple-rubbing thing that meant he had no idea how to deal with me. "But I don't understand why this keeps happening. Honestly, I don't even understand what happened tonight." "Which is why," I yelled, brandishing the phone again, "I tried to give you context." He glanced from me to the phone and back again. "You should probably come in." I came in and stood in his hallway, dripping. Neither of us seemed entirely sure what was meant to happen next. Then Oliver said, "Why don't you take a moment to dry off, and I'll have a look at this article, if you're still comfortable with that." I wasn't comfortable with that at all, but having shoved it under his nose, it was a bit late to back out now. Besides, I was committed to being honest and transparent, and, oh, help. Trying not to panic, I let Oliver shepherd me upstairs, where he took a towel from the airing cupboard, because of course he had an airing cupboard, and of course the towel was all fluffy and sweet-smelling. I hugged it needily. He gave me a little nudge towards the bathroom. "There's a dressing gown behind the door. I'll be in the kitchen." Feeling